Hey Taurus, and welcome to your basically bi-weekly reading. So this is for new moon to full moon. That's what we're taking a look at here. It's a really special week because it's not only the new moon, it's also the beginning of eclipse season. It is a solar eclipse on the 19th with the new moon. And also we have Mercury going retrograde officially at the end of the week. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but I'm not going to go too far into those details because I'm going to be doing a video about that separately. Interesting. We have the Taurus showing up for the Taurus. Now, this is a reading for a Taurus sun or rising. I'm going to go ahead and pull the rest of the cards first. We're doing a little bit of a different spread this month, so it's a little bit longer reading. Actually, I'm pulling this card here. Ooh, interesting. So it's a little bit of a longer reading, mainly because we've got so much going on this month. So typically the moon, the bi-weeklies are like 5 to 8 minutes, but this one's going to be a little bit longer. So I'll get into explaining what these are about. Oh, I'm feeling this one here. I love that card. It's so beautiful. And then we're going to take out some spiritual advice cards. So let's take a look at what spiritual advice we have for my Taurus rising and sun signs. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Taurus, what is up? What is up, Taurus? Okay. Interesting. Aw, Taurus. Okay, let's take a look. All right, so first of all, let's start off by just me letting you know what is going down in the astrology. I'm not going to go into a long video. I'm just going to let you know that on the 19th at 9:13 p.m. Pacific time, so adjust for your time zone, we have a new moon and solar eclipse happening in Aries. So, and that is for Aries in tropical astrology or sidereal astrology. I find that when those two are aligned like that, it's like a underscore circle highlight from the universe. So that's what we have going on the 19th. And then on the 21st, we have Mercury going retrograde. So that's fun. That's going to begin. I know a lot of people like to blame things on Mercury retrograde, but I have opinions about that. Anyway, that's happening at 1:35 a.m. on Pacific time on the 21st. And that will be in Taurus. It'll be going retrograde in Taurus in tropical astrology. So that's you. And if you are a follower of sidereal, that will be happening in Aries. So if you follow sidereal, there's a hell of a lot of Aries going on. So if you're here and you listen to tropical, if you guys don't know the difference between tropical and sidereal, basically most people, what they practice, what they know, what you read about online, most of what you hear about is tropical astrology. Sidereal, something different. If you're not aware of it, we can do a video on that another time. Let's get into it. So where is your attention being drawn this month, right? Or this month, sorry, this phase of the moon. We're moving from new moon to full moon. This is the waxing moon phase. And this is also the beginning of eclipse season. Remember, let's say this really quickly. Eclipse season is a great ushering in of energy and things and people and whatnot and activating things. And it also, eclipse season is the ushering out of things that maybe we needed to let go of and have not been letting go of, or things that need to just go, right? So a lot of people can have a lot of fear around this. I want to be clear and say that this is not a time to practice like magic, spell work, manifestation, setting your intentions. I would say wait a couple of days from like between the 19th and the 21st, maybe wait till the 20th or something like that before you set your intentions for what you're going to grow. Eclipses, because it is eclipsing the light, it becomes very chaotic energy. So you cannot control chaos, which means that you cannot control which way it goes and how weird and twisty the energy gets. It's not recommended. So where is your attention being drawn for the Taurus? And I think you're being drawn to really root into your sun or your rising sign, right? To really root into the qualities of Taurus. Taurus is grounded. Taurus is slow. Taurus loves to have like the beautiful things be created, right? It wants to feel the deliciousness of its senses being delighted, that which is pleasurable, right? That's what Taurus is about. Taurus is also about that grounding kind of energy. It's like slow, soft grounding is the way that it feels to me, right? Yeah, it has its shadow sides, but we're talking about like where you're being drawn to in terms of like what you can ground and like root into is what I believe that is showing up here for you, Taurus, right? Yes, it can also point to what is of value to you. So your values, maybe this is a time to really, especially because we're having the Mercury retrograde, retrogrades of any kind, but Mercury retrograde in particular can be a time of reviewing and revising our thoughts and our beliefs around certain things, right? Maybe not so much beliefs, but still we can take time to review that which is slowing down in our life, right? And this is kind of that slow down energy. So this is a time where I think that it works out well to just kind of like slow it down, revisit your values in this world and ask yourself what feels of value to you, what is worth moving forward with, especially during an eclipse season, like what feels like it's aligned with you in those ways so that you can move forward with that. It can also have to do somewhat with finances, so that might be a place to kind of take a look and make sure that you're dotting your I's, crossing your T's, all of that kind of stuff. So that might be something to pay attention to as well. Now, with that said, I want to take a look at what kind of particular shadow aspects might be showing up during the beginning of eclipse season so that you can work with it in a conscious way. Now, keeping in mind that this is a collective reading, which means it's not going to hit for every Taurus rising or Taurus sun, right? If this is not your message this month, it's not your message. That's cool. If this is your sun sign, check out your rising, vice versa. If you really want to know, honestly, you can book a personal reading with me. All that information is down below. So here, I want to take a look at what particular shadow aspect might be showing up for Taurus. You know, and it's just like, I know it's a pretty intense image and it says revenge, and you might be thinking, I don't have any revenge that I need to exact upon anybody in this world. That doesn't resonate with me, and I invite you to look at this a little bit differently. This deck is actually meant to be provocative, so if you feel like you've been provoked, it's doing its job. You know, revenge in this particular case doesn't mean that you're wanting to go and exact revenge. It's that feeling, though, of pent up, like if you think about what's behind revenge, it's like this, it's like anger that comes from hurt, and it's fueled like a fire, right? And how appropriate though, because of all the fire that we've got going on with the new moon and the solar eclipse, right? So you know, so really just that feeling of like, are there places in your life that have been up either in maybe a friendship or a friend group or with a partner or a lover or someone from your past, even an ex, or, you know, someone you had a falling out with, a family member, whatever it is, like, where is it that you feel like there is this, you know, burning kind of like bubbling feeling of that feels similar to revenge. I might call it rageful, I might call it vengeful, which is similar, right? But this feeling where it's like it just boils you up whenever it comes up, or whenever that person comes to mind, or when you interact with them, or in some way, like maybe if it's not just a person, maybe it's a memory, right? Things that need to get cleared out. And the spiritual advice that I'm seeing with this is that's showing up is the Devil and the Death card. Both things I think are pointing to just needing to release and relinquish. First of all, with the releasing I was just talking about here, we have the Death card showing up. The Death card is very much about putting to rest the things that no longer serve us, right? And that it's just going to drag us into the darkness. And when we can finally release it, when we can allow something to die off, right? Whether that is a connection, or whether that is finally forgiving and releasing, whatever it is, you see here in the card, and maybe it's a little hard to see for some people, but you can see that there's a dawning of a new day that shows up here, right? The dawning of a new day that comes after the release, after the dark night, right? And so that's one aspect of this. And then we also have the Devil card showing up, you know, and I feel like there are maybe some ways that you might feel tied to something that feels like a toxic situation, or maybe the anger anger or hurt that you're carrying with regard to like whatever this is that this is pointing to feels like it's corrosive in some way, feels toxic in some way, or you feel chained to it, like it's hard to let it go. And the advice that you're being like told here is that you can let it go. Notice one thing that I think that doesn't get talked about often enough with the Devil card is if you notice the chains that are around their necks, very loose, right? They could literally very easily just take them off and walk away. They're not really actually chained here to their obligations to this block, right? To societal norms, to societal constructs, to whatever obligations those might be, right? They're not actually tied to this. They're able to just walk away. It's their choice. So this is a choice for you, and it might not feel like an easy choice because these kinds of feelings are, you know, quite challenging. Like they're challenging for a reason. People sweep them under the rug for a reason. And those things that come to light during these times, right, come to light for a reason. You know, the eclipses the light, and it casts shadows, right? We see like things really drawn up, and especially this one in particular because we have it squaring Pluto. And so that's like, you know, the things that we try to like sweep into the corners, under the rug, like those things might be felt at this time, you know? So, and maybe for some of you, like, again, some of this is dependent on what's happening in your chart and how it's all aspecting your chart. So, you know, take that and keep that in mind. I know this top layer looks like pretty gnarly, but really the advice that you're getting is like, this is actually really good advice. It's important to let go of those things, to just release them. Stop carrying that weight. Stop carrying that hurt or that anger or that feeling of like I need to, you know, exact vengeance in order to feel like I can relieve myself of this pressure and feel relief, right? There are other ways to go about it. So then we take a look at, well, it's still a new to full moon. This is still a waxing phase of the moon, and that still holds sway. Waxing phases are good for building and definitely still good for planting seeds. Again, I would not do this on the new moon, on the solar eclipse. I would not do it that day. I'd wait a day or two. I'd even wait maybe until the weekend, right? So after Mercury already goes retrograde, like even with Mercury going retrograde, but I think maybe a sweet spot could probably be the day in between when these happen, right? So like on the 20th. Anyhow, to set your intentions and whatnot. So what can you be paying attention to seeding during this time, right? So what is being told to you to like put your attention on to actually grow and to not to release, but what are you here to like grow and put energy towards, and time, energy, and attention towards? And we have the Page of Laurels showing up. And I really just love this card. It's more earth. I just feel like you're getting so much supportive energy with this earth energy that's showing up. So, you know, more earth, more grounded, right? The Page of Laurels is a very curious, and like all of the pages honestly are curious and youthful in some respect, but with respect to their element. And so with this particular element, I would say, yes, it's a very grounding element, but it can also be very studious, right? And one of the other things that I want to say is like, whatever it is that you've been waiting to get the answers on, during this new to full moon, I feel like the answers are right, the solutions are right at your fingertips, right? It's just like right there at your fingertip, and it's going to like start to make itself more apparent. I'm not saying you need to be making moves on this yet. I'm saying that this is what's like the energy that's coming up, is like putting your attention on trusting what you see, right? Like trusting that what you see is what it is. Whatever this is in relation to, trusting that what you see is what it is. So if people are just like communicating, especially during retrogrades, people can communicate in ways that like don't come through exactly clearly or aren't understood exactly clearly on the other side. So I would say this is more like the actions versus words time, things that are more grounded, knowing that the solutions are going to come, and therefore you need to be open, like keeping your perception wider and opening and widening your perspective so that you can actually see and notice when those solutions are coming in, because they might come in subtle ways and they might come in like large ways, right? But to stay open, to stay alert, to stay present, to stay aware, to stay clear, to stay aligned, to be able to bring those, to not just bring them in, but to be able to recognize them so you can take advantage of those opportunities that are coming to you that will help you move things forward, right? I really love this for the phase that we're moving into. And then we have the spiritual advice for you. And the spiritual advice is like, hey, enjoy life. I know that this shit can get really heavy sometimes, and it might feel like there's a lot that's coming up and going on. I mean, with Mercury going retrograde in Taurus in tropical astrology, like you're going to feel it more as a Taurus, right? You're going to feel that. So that's just, you know, and depending on where it's happening in your chart will tell you where, like what part of life you might be experiencing this in, right? And that's not to say that Mercury is evil and everything goes bad. Everyone blames things on Mercury. It's just ridiculous. But like, you know, this, whatever, I probably did some before I knew more than I, you know, as much as I do now. So, you know, I guess I should just accept that and be less judgy about that. Yeah, I'll be less judgy about that. I've just made that decision. So, yeah, I just realized that came off super judgy. Sorry about that. But yeah, so Mercury is not the demon incarnate. Like, it's just not, right? So this is a time where you can still enjoy your life. Take some time to take stock of your achievements, of how far you've come in what you're working towards. Take some time to enjoy good libations, good food, have some time with your friends, right? Like this is a time to enjoy your life. You can still enjoy your life, even if it's eclipse season, even if Mercury's retrograde, right? Like there's always something celestially happening. That doesn't mean that we can't find ways to enjoy our life and to find where we can be genuinely appreciative and spend time with like people that you enjoy spending time with. Go listen to some good music, you know, like do the things, right? I would not recommend it on, I would say like, I usually would say it's probably a good time to lay low on the eclipse day. I usually am like, let's just be chill on this day, right? So if you want to get a full, like a more full picture of what's going on, you can check out the last moon videos that I did, but you can also just check out the monthly readings that I do, right, for your sign. So check out the Taurus rising, or check out, you know, your other sign. So, and if you want a really, really descriptive, like very clear, get like into the nitty gritty of it, you can book a reading, and that information's down below. So thanks for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.